who wants to speak and share concerns about any school safety issues that are happening, you can just raise your hand. Oh, here I see Craig Slutskin. Okay, so you can unmute yourself. Chanel, can you make me co-host and then I can unmute people?
Okay, I'm doing it right now.
Okay.
And it is live stream on YouTube now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay. Craig, you can now unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Daniela. And first I want to thank Ben, Daniela, and Kelly, because I think you guys are on Zoom meetings every single night, night after night. This seems to be your entire life, every evening. So I want to thank you for your dedication on that. So as some of you know, my name is Craig Slutskin. I'm the co-president of the PS340 6th Avenue PTA. My parents were very concerned already about school safety, but last week, the school was locked down for 40 minutes, which has understandably given us all more concern about safety. I can tell you, as someone who was actually in the school at the time and had to sit on the library floor for 40 minutes, it was a very harrowing experience. There are two areas where I'd like to advocate for. First, we have 320 students, but the building is 6 floors, plus a basement. It has 4 entrances. We also have a G75 school, and we only have 1 safety agent. That's simply not enough. She has to remain at her post all day. If she leaves for lunch or has to use the facilities, the parent coordinator mans the door, and she's simply not qualified for that. It's not a role that a parent coordinator should be filling. No security guards can roam the halls. If there's an incident, the safety agent can't leave her post. I realize there's a shortage, but we need to find a solution. 1 agent for any school simply isn't enough. Other schools have had the same issue. Yes, we're a school that doesn't have many incidents, but as we found out last week, we're not immune to these types of issues. Which brings me to my second point, locking the door. I realize that locking the door is not foolproof, but if someone wants to get in, they will get in, but it's a deterrent. I realize there are questions of discrimination that factor in, but I'm going to be very clear. Every parent that I speak with feels that safety trumps everything else. We should be using every tool in the toolkit. And I'd like to understand why schools in New York City cannot lock the door. I think there are several parents from 340 that are on tonight that want to speak in further detail. So I'm going to let them share their experiences. But I did want to set the stage and urge the NYPD and DOE to get every school in the city a minimum of 2 safety agents, no matter how small the school is, and also allow schools to lock doors as they feel appropriate. Schools that feel they need to lock the doors should be able to do so. It should be at the discretion of the principal and in conjunction with the parent bodies such as the SLT. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. I'm taking notes and I'll make sure that all of these, go to Chief Lauren and also to Mark. I'm missing his last name now, but who
Rampersad,
yeah. Yes. So your school has 3 schools in one building and only 2 schools.
2 schools. Yeah, we have a D75 and 340.
Okay, but only one school safety agent. Okay,
that's correct.
Thank you for sharing.
And we'll be sending the PTA will be sending a formal letter to the group.
Perfect.
But I just wanted to speak tonight.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Craig.
Thank you, Daniela.
Okay. Next person, Ayman. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right.
Yes, you are. Thank you. And Craig, thank you. I'm actually a fellow PS340 parent. And same thing, it was really harrowing to hear about last week's incident, and we are really in shock still. Our biggest concern, one of the biggest concerns, is the school not being able to lock the door. Not only that, the second pair of doors are often propped open so people can pass in and out. And today, for example, I had to take one of my kids out for a doctor's appointment, and I saw that the second pair of doors at the entrance were unlocked, and not even unlocked, open. I shared an article that I saw that with everyone that says that cost is one of the reasons why New York City schools, public schools, don't lock the doors. But we are we are totally okay with funding or contributing to funding for buzzer system or whatever it takes. I agree with Craig. We don't want to wait for an incident to happen and, lose lives before we get locks. So that's our biggest request. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Jessica Schwartz, you can unmute yourself now. And if you have already spoke, please lower your hand just so I can keep track. Thank you.
Hi, I am a fellow PS 340 parent as well. And luckily for me, my child was not in school that day. We got there a little late and I saw all these parents outside and cops. So I knew what was going on. I don't even know where to begin. First of all, the agent that sits in our school, and excuse my French or language, is useless. She can do zero. If you walk into our doors, she is hidden and the person that comes in is hidden. All this person has to do is look and shoot, and she can't do anything. So first of all, I think that if they are going to keep her there and that's all they're going to do, they should put like a bulletproof, like at a bank, like glass or something, so no one can get to her. So at least she has the opportunity to do something. Second of all, if someone just comes in our school, I know that we got an email from our principal that everything went according to plan. Of course it went according to plan. Nothing happened. But what if something happened? What if there were kids in the cafeteria eating at that moment? I mean, it's so ridiculous that we do not have locked doors in our school. And I understand the politically correct people, what they think. But if you're a good person, you won't care. And if you're doing something wrong, then you won't be able to get in. I grew up in Florida where, I mean, the rules and the laws in Florida are just insane. And every door going into my school was locked from the outside. You could get out easily if there's a fire from the inside. They're not locked, but the doors from the outside, nobody could get in unless they were let in or buzzed in. And I understand at some of the schools, the shootings, that the doors were locked, but that was early on. And I think people are less likely to just open doors for people now. They can have a list of people that are supposed to be in the building and a list of all the parents, and anyone else you'll have to call up, or there just has to be something done, because this country is not in for preventative things like, and I hate to bring it up, but like 9/11, all the doors are now bulletproof, all the cockpit doors, but after the fact. Everything in this country is done after the fact. We have to take on more of how Israel runs their country and do things preventatively, especially in our schools. And I understand like that the DOE and the chancellor or the school superintendent, I'm not sure who makes these rules, but I also don't know who they're for, because every teacher, person that works at a school, student, parent wants better safety. So I don't know who they are actually for, because maybe for themselves, maybe for politics, I don't know. But something has to be done. We are parents. We are sure our school would be happy to pay for a security outside, for a buzzer, whatever it takes. But something has to be done, because it's not okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Just one point, I believe Natalia, the other Mandarin translator, is here. Natalia, do you want to announce yourself?
Hello, this is Natalia. I'm the QC from Linguistica. I'm not an interpreter.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
okay. Ben Morden, our CC president from District 2, put here in the chat a link to a resolution that our council passed to improve school safety. So I encourage everybody who is doing advocacy around this issue, if you're reaching out to elected officials, please check this this resolution, and you can always, add to your emails or outreach to elected officials, just saying that this is something that elected parent leaders have asked for. And welcome, and please unmute yourself.
Hi, sorry, not to reiterate what's already been spoken, but I work at a large high school in New York City. We have approximately 1,400 students, and I'm fortunate enough to work in a newly built building in the last 10 years. And we don't have one set of locked doors, we have two sets of locked doors that they scan into one set of doors, and that's when they're met by security and checked. And then after that, they can go through the second set of doors. So, and it's a vital safety feature for our building. And I understand having a double set of doors is a little extra and would not be able to be created in most or any schools at this point. But there's no reason why what they've said so far, the school doesn't have the discretion and the power to lock their doors on a general basis daily and set things up that way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And did you say you work at a high school? Sorry.
Yes, I work at a high school. It's not a DOE building, though.
Oh, it's not a DOE building. Okay.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I was surprised that I've never been to a DOE building which has two sets of locked doors. But thank you for sharing that. Anybody else would like to share concerns? So Craig is asking here how some schools are able to lock their doors. So I believe what the school that Anne is talking about, it's probably a private school or independent school, because my understanding is that at DOE buildings, you're not allowed to lock the doors given the regulations that we must follow right now. So we have Mona, I think you are here now with us. And so I'm going to ask you to talk to our community and share, first, maybe share a little bit about the work that you do with the School Safety Coalition. And I know that parents have a lot of questions, and I thought you would be a great resource. I really appreciate, I know you're traveling, so I really appreciate you joining us. And I know you are really following this issue very closely, has access to all the data, and can really share with us, what is the state in terms of school safety in New York City today. So thank you so much.
Hi, thank you, Daniela, and thank you to CECD2, President Ben Morden, yourself, Robin Paul Keller, as the co-chairs of the School Safety Committee, and to all of CECD2 board. So just, I'm in DC right now. I'm outside the IMF and World Bank buildings, and they're protesting. So if you hear any noise, it's the protesters. But I wanted to join this meeting, and I'm so happy that you've had this meeting, because we are dealing with the school safety crisis. I am a founding member of the NYC School Safety Coalition, where parents, grandparents, clergy, community leaders, we're a diverse coalition, all 5 boroughs, different ethnic groups, different religions, even different political ideologies. But the one thing we all have in common is the safety of our children, the safety of our children traveling to and from school, and the safety of our children while in the school, because we all know that no child can learn in an unsafe environment. We got started almost 2 years ago when there was a push to remove school safety agents from under the purview of the NYPD and put them under the DOE. I'm a former parent leader. I've been through it, done it, PTA, SLT, Title I. I've been there, and I know that sometimes not everything works properly in the Department of Education. And when it comes to school safety, no one is better trained than our school safety agents. With 17 weeks training in the police academy, They trained by the best police force in the nation. And, these are majority women of color. They are our neighbors, and they're there to protect our children. Last year, we had almost 30 weapons, in particular firearms, almost 30 firearms seized, found in our schools. 30 guns. We had multiple press conferences, rallies about this issue. We had almost 6,000 weapons seized throughout last school year. For this school year, unfortunately, I'm in my car and I, just finished some meetings, so I don't have the information with me, but I will share it with Daniela, and she can share it with everyone. But compared to last school year, this time, there are twice the amount of weapons seized from the beginning of school last month to now. And that's alarming. And our kids are bringing weapons to school because many of them don't feel safe traveling to school. So, they're being found with weapons. What's happening in the streets, the rampant gun violence, the crime, the lawlessness, the craziness that's happening is spilling over into our schools. There have been a number of incidents. As many of you know, we have a school safety agent shortage, and we have so many schools, particularly elementary schools where our babies are, that only have one school safety agent. A few weeks ago, a school in Queens, there was, this guy, emotionally disturbed person that ran into the school, and the school safety agent, a woman, had to tackle him. And the principal joined and another teaching assistant joined, and it took 3 of them. But there was only one school safety agent in that school building. We need more school safety agents. This shortage of almost 2,000 is endangering the safety of our children, and things are not going to get better this year. With twice the amount of weapons seized already compared to last year, that's a very bad sign. We send our children to school and we want our children to come home safely. Outside of the schools, directly in the perimeter, the nexus of the school, meaning when you come outside, you have 4 corners to the school block. There have been, shootings, there have been stabbings, and we're only in October. And that's another thing, is that we do not have the safe passage and the safe corridors. And safe passage was a system that they used to have. I don't see it happening this year so far from what I've noticed, but where they would have school safety agents as well as NYPD's neighborhood coordination officers or youth coordination officers outside of the schools, not inside of the schools, but they would be outside on the street to watch the kids as they walk to the bus stop or as they walk to the subway. We don't have that. And we need to bring that back because there are too many instances and incidents that are happening outside, directly outside of the schools at dismissal. And some of them are even happening before school starts. Not too long ago, we had a shooting a few weeks ago before school began at like 7-something in the morning. So this is what's going on. And it's really, it's really important that we protect our children, we protect our babies, we hold this mayor and this chancellor accountable for ensuring the safety of our children in New York City schools. The other thing I heard someone asking about, I think, why is it with private schools? I had just logged on that, they have their doors closed. I think this is something that, for us as a school safety coalition, this is a point that we are going to raise because personally, I feel that the door should be shut. I also feel that every school should have, especially elementary schools, should have at least 2 school safety agents. I think we need to do whatever we have to do to ensure the safety of our children. That should be the priority. We cannot afford to be lax when it comes to the safety of our children. On Wednesday, October 26th, the School Safety Coalition is having a town hall meeting, a virtual town hall meeting. If you go onto our Facebook page, you'll see other previous town hall meetings that we've had where we've had, NYPD school safety there, as well as our elected officials. For this upcoming meeting, we're going to again have Chief Marlon Laren from the NYPD School Safety Division. We will invite the Chancellor as well as Mark Rempesant, who is the DOE person in charge of school safety, to come and speak to the parents and tell us exactly what is their plan. Because, we cannot continue the way things are going right now. And we want to know how many schools, how many elementary schools only have one school safety agent, and what is the plan, and how soon are they going to have at least two? So, if anybody has any questions, or if you want to reach out, or if you have any concerns, please feel free to contact me. My phone number, because I have no problem giving out my phone number is 646-872-7149. My email is mona@nycschoolsafetycoalition.com. Our website is nycschoolsafetycoalition.com. You can reach out to me, and I'll be sure to get back to you. But this situation right now, things are very much out of control, and we really need to hold the mayor and the chancellor accountable to, to ensure the safety of all New York City students. So thank you again, Daniela, and thank you, President Morden, and all of CEC2 for this opportunity to speak to you and to your community.
Thank you so much, Mona. Thank you for the work that you do for school safety across the city. I put Mona's email here on the chat. So if there are questions, and I always learn a lot. She has been really provided great guidance for our council as we navigate issues of school safety. And so I would like to open now, if anybody has questions that Mona might be able to answer. We can also just continue with the public speaking session. And Mona, before you join, I just want to notice that one issue that you raised, which was the question of schools with only one safety agent. So we have had several parents from PS 340 here. Who actually, there are two schools in that building, and they had an incident last week, I believe. The school was in lockdown, and the same situation, they only have one school safety agent in that school. So, and it is an elementary school. So you have one more to add to your list. I know you're trying to keep track and to really be able to then bring to the chancellor and to DOE, a complete list. And we'll be happy to provide that for our district. I know a lot of people here already talk. I'll ask Alexander to speak, and then we'll go back to Jessica Amen if you all wanted to speak again. Alex, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, we all share feeling that the community, that security situation around our schools is deteriorating. Just a few days ago, young gentleman was shot during the daylight right outside of school in Brooklyn. Like a few weeks ago, we had an incident that neighborhood kids shot young children, of schools PS 77 and 183 with pellet guns, completely unprovoked. And when parents tried to intervene, they were shooting those pellet guns at the parents. Parents of involved students filed police report at precinct 19. Parents were up in arms, created chat groups, reached out to precinct, to to superintendent, but then, we get runaround, we are said, oh, it takes 5 years to install the cameras because you are not even on priority list. Doors, it has to be done through some central command. No, PTA cannot install the cameras. No, we cannot add more security guards because the resources are very thin. So essentially, we are being stonewalled. Parents feel absolutely helpless, while all this is going on. And then, parents' concerns center around 3 very practical things: the doors, the cameras around the schools that provide, both documentation and deterrence. So people would know, they would be recorded on the camera, and fortifying, those safety agents, putting the glass around them, putting the buzzers so they can see who walks in the schools. And we need real police presence. We all know that those safety agents not going to do anything. They will run out fast. Everybody who walks into the school, they know they would be completely unprepared to meet any real danger. So we want to see some concrete actions of elected officials, because safety of the children, is the greatest treasure, and parents will go the longest way to assure safety of their kids. If your children are not safe when you send them to schools, what else matters?
Thank you so much, Alex. Mona, I don't know if you want to answer or if I should just go around and then you answer.
I think that it'd be best to go around and get more questions, and then I can answer the questions one time.
Sounds good. Okay.
Thank you.
Diana Mentovai, sorry if I'm mispronouncing. You can unmute yourself.
Hi, thank you. I'm another PS 340 parent. I have a 4-year-old in the school. He's in pre-K. And, during that lockdown, he was huddled in a corner with all of his classmates in the dark with his teacher. And that was, how they were sitting in the dark for 25 minutes during that lockdown. That's what they told me at the end of the day. Like I said, he's in pre-K. So we did have the choice to send him to a private daycare this year. He's 4 years old. He could still go to daycare, but we chose to send him to public school at PS 340. Now, if we had sent him to private daycare, the situation there would have been that I use an app on my phone to access the school. So the door of the school is locked. There's a QR code in the front window. You have to scan it with your phone. And then on top of scanning it, you have to type in a special code that you set at the beginning of the year. So those precautions are in place for the daycare that he went to last year. What I'd like to understand is why we can't implement a similar system where we use an app and we scan a QR code and we type in a code that allows us to enter the school so that the doors can be locked, but only authorized people that have a code can enter. And, food delivery people and other people that are authorized to enter, they can all get codes, but at least, you'd have a system in place that separates people who are allowed from people who are not allowed. And it's pretty simple, really. I mean, all the parents get a code and get access to this app. So if the daycare down the street is doing that, why can't PS 340 do that? That's what I'd like to understand.
Thank you so much. My heart goes out to you for your 4-year-old to going through this. I know I have a little one and I can only imagine how difficult it is. Tricia Joyce, you can unmute yourself. Welcome. Prisha, we cannot hear you, but we cannot hear you. I'll have another speaker and then we'll go back to you so you can figure out your audio. Anne, would you like to speak again? Jessica? Okay, you can unmute yourself, Jessica.
Sorry if I'm taking up so much time. I have so much to say on this subject. The bottom line is that there's ways that these schools can be safer and that they can be made safer if it wants to be done. And it just comes down to whoever it is, the chancellor, the DOE, the mayor, they just don't want to do it for whatever reason. Money, politics, it doesn't matter, but something needs to be done. And my question to you is, as parents, are we allowed to hire like a private person to do it? Like stand outside or inside or wherever we want as a school? Can we hire a private security guard? Because the security guards, as much as like I appreciate what Mona said and how they're trained, they are useless if someone comes into the building with an AR rifle. Useless. They sit behind a desk with, again, nothing that will stop the person from getting to them. And it's a false sense of security. I mean, it's really no security, but the people who put them there want us to think that it is, but it's not. And all that really has to happen is, God forbid, something to happen to one of these hired people's kids and then see what happens. And it's not okay. Like, so are we allowed to hire a private person? Are we allowed to do something to the doors? Are they going to what are they going to do? Shut us down? Like, it's so insane how our children's and the teachers and everyone else who is at the school's lives just don't matter. Because in Westchester, my friends' kids go to public school. All their doors are locked. And now they're debating having an armed guard, which I know is another a big thing about people believing that or not, but if they should have that, but at least the doors should be locked. I mean, our kids go to school and like the next day, and when I left my daughter at school during the lockdown, I literally left school and I was like, I have to do this because the mental part of me is saying it's the right thing to do for my kid so she doesn't think anything's wrong and not to be scared. But I leave that school now, even till this day, and I'm like, is my child coming home from school? And it's a really, really, really hard thing to think about every single day. And that there's so many things that can be done about it. And we are literally doing nothing. Zero. Every single door, PS 340, you can walk right into. And it's so many words I can't even put into them. And nothing is being done. All it takes is one person to walk into that school, any school. And it's something has to be done. And it's not okay.
Thank you so much.
Sorry.
No, please finish. Please finish.
No, it's just not okay that we drop our kids off. And it's supposed to be the safest place in the world for them. And every time you drop your kid off, you're like, are they coming home? And it's just not okay. I'm a single mom and I have a child on my own. If something happens to her, I mean, and I'm not saying, thank you, honey. I'm not saying not every parent feels that way, but like, she is my life. And like, it's like, I can't afford private school. Like, do I really have to leave the city to get the safety that she deserves and that we deserve and that she needs? Soon there'll be no one in public schools because nobody is going to want their kids in this. They all want safety. They spend their money on so many other things. You know what? Take away her freaking music class. I don't care. Safety should be the #1 priority they spend money on. And these people that are in our building, supposedly securing them, I could be sitting there. It's the same damn thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jessica. I'll let Mona answer the question about the private security, because I know that we cannot have private security inside our buildings because there are union rules, there are a number of issues. But I'll let her answer, because I know also PS 77 after the shooting, which was the Alex mentioned, which was not actually inside our building, was at the playground, which is in the same block. Our community has also talked about that. But I think one thing that you said that was very important, that I think it's important for people to also understand the context. Mona mentioned this a little bit. So, you know, the school safety agents, they cannot carry guns inside our buildings. And this is a very controversial topic. And as Mona said, there has even been a movement to try to not have any school safety agents in our school buildings. And then a lot of people came together to prevent that from happening. But in the past few years, what has happened is that the pipeline of school safety agents being trained, like, it was not properly done. And so now we are dealing with this shortage of school safety agents that Mona was explaining. So, and I know that the new administration, Mayor Adams and Chancellor Banks, has really changed that. You know, they have a new class now of school safety agents, but still we are dealing with the consequence of decisions that were made by the previous administration. Mona, do you want to talk a little bit about the question of private security and what is possible for families to do, school communities to do, you know, while we wait for the measures from DOE?
Okay. Yes. Actually, I do want to speak about it. But first, I want to just touch on something. You know, with the School Safety Coalition, now, please understand, I have been a very active parent for over 15 years. There is no other parent that has sued the DOE more than I have, okay? I have fought battles in the streets, in the courts. I have fought. When it comes to school safety, I hear what you're saying. I understand, because we're the ones on the front lines fighting to make sure everyone's child is safe. But just as school safety has been under attack, we've been fighting for almost 2 years because there are groups out there. There are organizations out there. There are city council members out there. There's Jumani Williams out there and Brad Lander and all of them who have been pushing to completely eliminate any type of safety in our schools. We've, like, if you Google, you'll see the fights that we've had. Even today, we're still pushing back. We're still fighting back as parents, saying that we want our children to be safe. Yes, school safety agents are civil servants. They are unarmed, okay? They don't even have bulletproof vests, but they're the ones who are running outside when shots are fired. They're the ones that arrive on the scene outside of schools. Those women, majority women workforce, are the ones there on the front lines who are putting their lives at risk to protect our children. The school safety agents in New York City are not like the rest of the what they call school resource officers, SROs, outside of New York City, in the rest of New York State and across the country. They're not police officers, they're civil servants. And, you know, right now with the battle, and I really hope the parents on here are going to get involved with the School Safety Coalition, because what you all are saying, we're out here fighting for, and we need more voices. We can't do it alone. We need to hear your voice. There's an assembly hearing coming up on school safety in about a week's time. I'll send that information. Now it's becoming a statewide issue, New York City school safety crisis that we're dealing with. So I hear what you're saying. With regards to private security, there's no way that the Department of Education would allow schools to have private security. They will not allow PTAs to hire private security. And many of you who belong to PTAs that have funding to hire teaching assistants and all of these other extracurriculars, you'll know the headache it is to even pay for something as a PTA for your school. So they will not allow that. What you all are saying is what we've been saying. So the only thing I can say is, if you're worried about the safety of your child, join us and let your voices be heard, because we're out here. We just finished the fight to keep school safety agents some type of security. Whether or not you think that they're useless or whatever, the fact of the matter is they are all we got. And if we want more than that, and if we want them to be armed or whatever it is to protect our children, you all need to get involved in the fight to protect our children. So believe me, I hear you, and we are out there and we are fighting. And I will say one thing, Chancellor Banks does take school safety seriously. We had a meeting with him as the coalition in late August. He's very receptive. He'll listen, but let's come to him with our proposals, with our asks, with our concerns. So the best thing I can say to everyone is that I hear you. We are out here. Come and join us. Sit at the table, literally and figuratively, sit at that table with us, with the chancellor, with NYPD, with the mayor. We've also had meetings with him. Come and join us so that they can also hear from other parents, not from, okay, it's Mona, it's this one, it's Daniela, it's Robin, it's Quyan, it's our other members who are all complaining and saying the schools aren't safe enough. Let them hear from you too. So anyone who is serious and wants to do something and take action, get in touch with me and let's go and sit down with them. And if they don't listen to us, then it's time for press conferences and rallies. But these are our babies. They're our children. So the onus is on us to fight for them. But we need to fight as a collective, united with one voice and saying, this is what we want. So that, I know it's not exactly helpful, but that's the situation that we're dealing with. And I really and truly implore you all who are on here, testify at the assembly hearing. I will send you the information. Join us at our town hall. When we have meetings with the DOE, come, let your voice be heard. I don't stop anyone from speaking because I want them to hear from you, the parents. So, Zoom meetings are great, but our children are in danger. So let's get busy, let's get together, and let's let them hear what you all have to say. Join us and let's protect our babies.
Thank you, Mona. One clarifying question. So we know that we cannot have private security inside of the school buildings. Can PTAs hire private security to be outside of the buildings? Do you know that? Or
they would. That is something that they would not allow the PTAs to do. It's there are too many risks associated with that I did not see this mayor or this chancellor allowing something like that. And then there's the other question. Well, if a PTA on a PTA in Tribeca can maybe afford to hire private security, but can a PTA in the South Bronx, where there's even more rampant gun violence, hire private security? No, they don't have the funds to. Yeah. So, for some reasons like that, but also just with the city as it is, and this mayor and how city government is run, no, I really don't see them allowing that. But that's just my opinion. There's nothing stopping us from going and saying, this is what some parents want to do, and we'll present it.
Yeah. I'll go back to, we have two more speakers and two more parents want to speak, but if you know our CECD2, we pass resolutions, we do a lot of advocacy, and I will make sure that, I know there's a lot of people asking like for concrete steps of what can be done. I'll make sure to reach out to the PTA from 340 as well. I know Craig mentioned, the first speaker mentioned that the PTA is writing a letter, and then we can definitely coordinate efforts to make sure that, our advocacy is done together. So I promise you that we will have next steps and very clear actions for we all to make sure that all these requests reach the right people at NYPD, at DOE, and we'll continue advocating for locked doors, for more school safety agents, and all of those issues that we are raising. One thing only that I want to say is that for the PS 340 community, it is one question about asking more police presence around your around your school. I know we definitely asked that from our local the person who was coordinated with NYPD from PS 77 after the playground shooting, and it has happened. There's definitely has been more police presence there, particularly at not drop off, pick up, because then the middle schools are also leaving. It's an area that has had a lot of incidents. Trisha, let's see if we can hear you now. You can unmute yourself.
How is that? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So sorry, I don't know what happened there. Anyway, hello, everybody. I'm the chair of the Youth and Education Committee of Community Board 1, which has been below Canal Street. And not even Tribeca can afford to hire a private security guard, I will tell you that. And I think it's also unequitable. And I think that, when we look at public schools and why we raised our kids in public schools is that everyone is treated the same. And in that is an incredible opportunity. And what happened and what is happening now in terms of safety is something that we haven't seen in a long time. It didn't happen until my daughters were in like 6th grade, where we had these incidences citywide, whether it be terrorism, which we had at IS 289, or people with guns in the neighborhood. And a lot of our schools handled it really well in terms of the communication to the parents. I want to say that because they are in touch with the NYPD. They do hear about incidences that are in the neighborhood. I think what is more concerning is what was brought up earlier about, rushing the door. We are not set up well in that case. And it would take someone armed inside the building. Someone armed inside the building could actually be problematic. That was decided, in many, many years ago that was not a good idea. And so, I have been a proponent of shutting the door, and, all the private schools do it, whether it be an app or whether someone just stands up and goes to the door and decides whether that person comes in or not during the school day. I think that, for us in our community district, that's what we've been advocating for, because it's something that has worked in other places. And I think what's really important is to not fall back into magical thinking. And I think that happens a lot in some of the city agencies here, whether it be the DOE and SCA, or if it's Department of Transportation. We have had a tremendous amount of time, and in Lower Manhattan, we're really struggling with the passages to school right now. Everybody keeps saying we're going to do something about these crossing guards. The reality is the crossing guards used to be our neighbors, right? That is what that job was, whether it was retired people or young people in their 20s. It was a part-time job with no benefits. That isn't what's happening anymore. These security guards are being trained and they have to travel sometimes from the outer boroughs because we live in an unaffordable environment for someone in a part-time job. And what I personally think is the key to all of this is to just be realistic with what is actually happening in the here and now and develop common sense policies. They are not expensive. They are not difficult to execute. Someone just has to care at the city agencies and make the change. De Blasio approved, 300 new crossing guards, 200 were supposed to be full-time. There's plenty of other things for them to do during the day with benefits. We have yet to see one downtown. This was 4 years ago. And so the implementation of common sense policies and the follow-up is really the key to keeping our kids safe. There is absolutely a way to keep our children safe in this town. It has been done in 100 other places, and we just have to do it here. And I love that you have started this. I was so excited to see this come in my email box. I really thank you for taking the initiative on this. What we do is we chase city council and we have them go run and try to get the mayor to do something. We, spam everybody's email boxes until they listen. We finally get what we want, and then we have to follow through on it because it doesn't actually happen a year and a half later, like they said it would, because people get elected and then they move on. So I love that it's parent run. I can't support you enough. I would be happy to come to these meetings. I will say it is very difficult for some of these mothers and fathers of young children to make these meetings. And so they will be counting on us that do have the time to do this to go and speak for them. So I just want to applaud you for having this venue tonight. And I would be happy to join on and do whatever I can to support you from here.
Thank you so much, Trisha. And I heard that you are with Community Board 1, so it's great to know that we have allies there. If you are affiliated with any school, that I will put notes of tonight and really make sure that everybody in our board sees, and then our elected officials and GOE. And so if you are affiliated with any particular school in District 2, please let me know. And then Lee Duggar now, you can unmute yourself. Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much for squeezing me in. I really appreciate that. I really just wanted to say thank you for putting this meeting together. And please give a little bit of grace to those of us who may be new to this process. I absolutely applaud and appreciate the fact that many of you have been doing this for a long time, and it's not lost on me and not lost on others. But some of us may be new, so please don't make us feel like we haven't been part of it, but we're here now. So let's allow some space for that. And also, final point, everything else has been touched on, but please make the information available to us in just like clean, simple, actionable steps that we can take. Many of us are like full-time parents, some of us solo parents working full-time jobs. It's hard for all of us. And if you can just make it really clean and concise, I think it would be very helpful to us. So thanks again. That's all I have.
Thank you, Lee. Yes, if you are on the District 2 email list, I'll put the link here. We always get out with very clear next steps, and yes, very concise, because everybody's very, very busy. It's New York City. But thank you for joining us. Paul, you can unmute yourself. Welcome.
Hi. I just wanted to thank everybody for the discussion, and it's amazing that everybody has been, involved in this for so long, and new people are joining. Like me, I'm a father of a 5-year-old at PS6, so I'm new to one of these big buildings in District 2. And what's shocking is the bare minimum, which is locking the doors, all the way up to hot button stuff like armed security and all of that. But it's just starting with the bare minimum. Our school already has a buzzer. already has double doors. Security guard, for some reason, has to be about as far away in the vestibule as you can possibly be from the entrance doors. So just going by that really interesting Staten Island article, they quote that 70 public schools in Staten Island, it would cost $1,800 per door just to get the buzzer system. Like I said, a lot of schools like PS6 already have that, but they said on the high end, $1,800 per school to do that. So that's for, in District 2, there are 118 schools. I don't mean to just throw the boring math out, but it's just amazing to think $200,000 would allow every front door of every District 2 school to be closed. I think one of the hot button things that people don't bring up enough is the distribution of funds to make it equitable, the same reason that private security is a non-starter. So make it equitable. Give that buzzer system to all 1,851 public schools in New York City. That costs $3.3 million. For perspective, the air purifiers cost $40 million. The ones that don't work, that there was a no bid contract, I guess. So starting on one very simple step like buzzers, doors, it just seems so doable and almost ridiculous that anybody would say, sure. I mean, even on a grassroots level, PS6 raises over $600,000 a year in their general fund. If the schools that are well-funded agree to spread the costs so that it is equitable, so you have schools in the Bronx with the same buzzers as the schools in Chelsea, I think from a PR standpoint, that would be something that might garner media attention beyond sort of niche publications and sort of get the conversation more mainstream rather than it turn into what I know I would be all for, a higher degree of security, private security, but just starting with the numbers, with buzzers, it's just a scandal that the amount of wasted funds for all different things, something so basic, buzzers, $3 million, 1,800 schools. I just wanted to throw that out there as a place that media outreach might be amenable to. Thanks.
Thank you so much. That's a very, very important point. And I, yes, I took notes here and definitely will check these numbers. We had some more people. I don't know if they left or if they still want to speak. We have time for a few more speakers, and then I will make sure that Mona has a chance to also answer. Oh, okay. Faiza.
Hello. Thank you so much for doing this, Daniela, and thank you, Superintendent Kelly, for listening in. I just wanted to ask Mona some questions, and it's specific to the role of city council members for the particular districts. Earlier, Alex Shilkrut had talked about the incident at the PS 77, PS 198 playground in which a child basically came into the playground after hours and started shooting at 4th and 5th grade kids with, no provocation, which is terrifying. And then we, the lab parents and 77 and 198 parents tend to be vocal and organized. And so we emailed our city councilwoman for District 5, Julie Menon, endlessly. And for, a week or two afterwards, we saw police cruisers and, 4 or 5 officers at the corners of the school and stuff. Not so much now, so it feels like, once the fuss dies down, then the attention, goes away and then the, response decreases. I'm just wondering, Mona, and thank you for the awesome work you do. I just so much respect. Thank you. I'm just wondering, do you know if there are any city council members who are more focused on school safety than other things? And if there's like a point person for school safety, or if there's someone who we can email and, I don't think it should be impossible for the NYPD to have some show of force around school dismissal time, maybe 2:30 to 5:30. I don't think it's impossible to have like a cruiser just going around the block, so maybe I'm naive, if you could shed some more light on who is, looking after these sort of issues on city council, and if your efforts haven't met any response, and what we can do to support you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for those questions. All right, so everybody's sitting down, right? Okay. Listen. The school safety issue when it comes to the majority of the city council members is hands off, because they are terrified of the other groups, the defund groups. They are completely terrified of them, and good luck getting a city council member, except for the ones on Staten Island and ones like Bob Holden, who's a Democrat from Queens, just a handful of them, less than a handful of them, are willing to stand up and say, no, we need more safety in our schools. That's because the other side, those other groups, the I don't want to offend anyone, but I'll just call them the progressive groups that say that school safety, even though they're civil servants, they want to call them police in schools. You know, they say we have NYPD in schools. They're always having press conferences and rallies. Majority of the city council members, over 90% of them, will not come out and say our schools are not safe, or we need more school safety, or we need to lock the doors. They're not going to do it because they're more afraid of those other groups than they are of parents. Do you understand what I'm hoping you all understand what I'm saying. This is what we're dealing with. Like, Julie, like, pick one, any of them. I am telling you, they are not going to come out and say that because they're afraid of NYCC. They're afraid of Make the Road. They're afraid of Urban Youth Collaborative. They're afraid of Teens Take Charge. They have all of these AstroTurf groups that come out and they're saying that there should be no school safety in our schools. There should be no NYPD in our schools. This is what we're dealing with. All of them, not one of them, including Julie, will come out and say, no, like, let's get the buzzers. No, we need more than one school safety agent, especially in our elementary school buildings. Yeah, they're not going to come out. They're not going to come out. They're not going to say it because they're on that side. That is what we're dealing with. With regards to outside the schools, we used to have an NYPD mobile task force. It was 200 NYPD officers, and they would be deployed to different schools that we know have like high incidents, that safety related incidents that would occur at dismissal or in the morning. Because of that whole defund the NYPD movement that happened, they eliminated that NYPD school safety task force of about 200 officers that would be deployed outside of the schools. This is one of the things that we are pushing for, because as far as we're concerned, there's nothing keeping the local precinct from, having a cop car and a police officer or two stationed outside of a school. They can do it. But the political pushback, the fallback from these so-called progressive groups, and when I tell you we fighting them every single day, and I will share with Daniela to send to those that are on the Zoom, we are literally fighting them every single day because they don't want any type of school safety in our buildings. Nothing. So this is what we're dealing with in answer to your question. And that is what we are pushing for. We are pushing for these police officers to be outside of every school. We are pushing for the school doors to be locked. We are pushing for more security in these schools. But we cannot push for, armed security in the schools, because that is something that even we know that they would never, ever allow. We're just fighting right now just to even have some type of security officer in our school. So that's what we're dealing with. City Council, they're not there. They won't touch it. Think about that. And that's the craziness that we have to deal with. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news.
No, but I think it's very important, because I think you have a very a strategic perspective, and you have experience dealing with that. But I think also, from my point of view, advocacy works, right? We were in a situation where, for example, we were fighting, like, even to exist accelerated programs last year. Now we have a chancellor who is speaking. We're still fighting, but we have a chancellor who is speaking about expanding accelerated programs. So I do think that the work that we're just starting here, we literally just created the school safety committee. District 2 did not have a school safety committee. This is our first hearing. And so we are definitely going to bring, the parents from different school communities who are concerned about this. We're going to have a plan on how to reach out to elected officials and partner with the School Safety Coalition group headed by Mona. I have been in one of their town halls. I highly recommend the one that's going to happen again. And if you don't have time, we'll have some very quick actions for you to take. And we will make sure that this becomes a topic in the agenda of school council and assembly if needed, to really make sure that they pay attention. Elected officials will react to what their their voters, the people on the ground are talking about. So if we make enough noise and we say this is an issue that's very important for us, they will react. Then it becomes an issue. And so I think that's our job. And Robin and I will work with Mona on a plan on how we can bring this to the forefront for our district, and also connected with the citywide movement, and we'll go from there. I really want to thank everybody. I know some of you were until very late with us for our council meeting yesterday. We'll get back to you on next steps. I'm going to put here in the chat right now the District 2 website. You can go there and sign up for to be on our email list. That's the best way for us to communicate with you. My email is available, and the email of our council members and the co-chair of this committee as well, Robin Callagher. They are all in our CEC website. So if you have concerns or if you have ideas, if you want to get involved, please reach out. But we will definitely reach out to all of you with next steps. Thank you, and I hope you all stay safe, with your children safe. And yes, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. And I'll put here right now, just 1 second, I'll put here right now the CC District 2 website, so you can all reach out to us and as well sign up for our mail list. Thank you so much. Yes, and there's elections next. You have until Friday to register to vote. Please register and make sure you vote. It's very important. Thank you so much.